now let's head into the office.
Okay, let's go.
You have been testing out something.
Yeah.
That's good for, well, it actually would work great here.
Yes.
It would work for people who have that hybrid lifestyle where they might work out of their home for a day or two of the week, the office, or they might have an office that they have conference where they get together.
Yes.
They've got a team that they need to connect with somewhere else.
Yeah, this definitely has multiple uses.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about a Bluetooth speaker, but this is specifically a conferencing speaker.
Yeah.
So this is for making conference calls or voice conferencing. This is from EPOS.
Mm-hmm.
We've had a couple EPOS products through here. And this is the Expand 40 speaker. And this thing is cool looking. It's very small.
Mm-hmm.
It's I don't know how many people will get this reference. It's like the size of an ashtray.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's about an inch, maybe a little over an inch thick.
Yeah.
And about 4 inches round.
It looks like a jumbo-sized yo-yo.
Yeah, definitely.
Like a very cool, futuristic-looking yo-yo.
Right. It's so this thing it works very well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, it's a speaker, so there's really not much to say as far as specs and it's not a lot of pizzazz and not a lot of like, oh, you got to hear this thing. It thumps like,
so it's not a sexy thing.
No,
by itself to even talk about. It's what does it do? Who is it for?
But it does what it's supposed to do very, very well.
Yeah.
So it has just a couple of the features of this, and this will maybe help you understand about just it's made for voice conferencing specifically. It has Bluetooth. You can connect multiple devices to it if you need to. It is Microsoft Teams and Zoom certified.
So that's a big deal, right?
Yeah.
Now,
so and there's also it has a dongle to it so that you'll have zero latency with it. And that's one thing that EPOS, I remember from the speakers that I've used and the headphones I've used, that's kind of their big driving thing is the zero latency. It has up to an 18-hour battery life. Now I haven't used it for that long.
Sure.
But it, from when I have used it, it works completely fine. But it also has the ability for simultaneous talking. So
yeah, when you think about the idea of a Bluetooth speaker that takes calls or designed for calls, a lot of speakers do that.
Yeah.
But that's almost like an afterthought for a lot of speakers.
Sure.
They're designed for music, and a lot of them are tuned that way, and they're designed to maybe be waterproof and just kind of like a rugged thing.
Sure.
This is something that is designed for communication first.
Right.
And then everything else is kind of like, yeah, it's got a great battery too.
Yep.
But it's designed for the tools that we use now. A lot of people are using,
Teams and Zoom and
Chrome, a lot of stuff through the browser now.
Yeah. So this has 3 dedicated beamforming microphones. So it's really set to like isolate the speech from wherever you're around it. Yeah. And I think that's probably one of the biggest differences. Most speaker phones have one audio source. Yeah. Maybe 2. But if you're kind of around, let's say a phone, for instance, you're going to have spots where it's like, oh, I can definitely tell that you shifted or moved or walked away. Yeah. This is supposed to be able to get a full 360 and it's supposed to sound the same every time. Yeah. And from what, there's only so much I can do for testing that.
Sure.
But from everybody I've talked to on it,
mm-hmm.
From moving around the table, excuse me, or walking around or something, it sounds great to everybody. So that's good.
Right.
It's very easy to use. Like I said, it has the dongle if you want to use the dongle, or it has just a dedicated cable to plug in USB-C if you want, or you can do the Bluetooth route. Now the thing about this and the when you look at this, if you're like, hey, this sounds great. I use Teams all the time. I would love a dedicated thing. This would be great because it's Bluetooth. If you're in an office environment and you have to do conferences with another office or other people who work from home, this is a really nice thing to just take from your desk and go into a conference room and sit down and you can have your Teams meeting.
Yep.
It's very portable, which is cool, but it all comes with a price.
Yeah.
This thing comes in at $329.
Yeah. It's not it. That's where you have to look at what is my primary focus for a speaker.
Exactly.
And this, I wouldn't even say, I don't want to call it a speaker because it seems to be more of a product.
Yeah. I mean, it's essentially, it's a conferencing productivity tool.
Right.
It is a speaker. It does have background noise reduction.
Mm-hmm.
It does have a lot of features that a speaker would have, but it does it. They have paid attention to every detail.
It's enterprise level stuff.
Exactly.
And you think about some of the teams and environments where there's a room where they've got a TV or a monitor on the wall with a big webcam, speakers on it, and everybody sits around and has this kind of like remote back and forth conversation.
Sure.
Lag is a killing, that's a problem. And something like this is going to have that.
Or talking over each other.
Right. You just get a bunch of mess coming through the other side.
Right.
Something like this is nice because it is Bluetooth. You can kind of carry it around. But if you have that dedicated room where it's like, no, this is the computer that we run all of our slides out of or PowerPoint presentations.
Sure.
You plug that dongle into it and then, maybe that computer doesn't have Bluetooth, but with this, that's paired in the box.
Right. You're ready to go.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
it's one of those, if I'm trying to close a $1 million deal on something, I'm not going to bat an eye at $329 for a speakerphone that's going to be dedicated to get me there, and not have any interference. For the average user, price is a thing. I will say that this has done voice conferencing better than anything else I've used before. But that price is a thing.
Sure. Yeah. So. It's this for us, it tends to be one of those cases where this is a nice thing to have.
Yes.
I'm not the target user.
Right.
I can really appreciate this thing, but there are definitely people who are going to listen to this and go, oh man, that's what our team needs.
We were just looking at something like that. Or maybe you were looking at this and like, oh, is it worth this price? If you're going to use it day in and day out, absolutely worth the price.
Yeah.
But it's not a thing that you would get on a whim.
Sure. All right, that's going to do it for this episode of the podcast.
Thanks for listening.
We appreciate it. If you guys have any questions, feedback, concerns, comments, anything, shoot us an email at podcast@AndroidGuys.com. We'd love to hear from you one way or the other. Luke, if someone wants to get a hold of you, how do they do that?
I am on Instagram and Twitter at Luke Gaul, Gaul.
And I'm on Instagram at Scott Webster and Twitter as SWebster77. Until next time, thanks for listening.
See ya.